Rafael Devers. Guy's a hit machine. He is. But he's also one of those guys that gets in his own way, it seems. And he's getting a lot of bad press today because the Giants were losing 2-1 in the ninth. And he gets on first, and they want a pinch run for him. And we're going to play the audio for you. But
who's on first?
Devers.
Okay.
And they want a pinch run for him because they're down 2-1 in the ninth.
Good one, Rich.
Okay. So Jonah Cox comes in from the dugout, and he's like, yo, I'm running in for you. And Devers is shaking him off like, no, get it. He's giving him he's shooing him away.
Little pinch hitter action?
Yeah.
Pinch runner action?
Yeah, he's like, I ain't coming out
He's
the
like,
game.
I'm not coming out. Here, take a listen.
Devers is trying to send Cox back to the dugout.
Yeah, Cox didn't know what to do. He's like backpedaling.
Cox and the first base coach look confused.
I've only seen this one other time, guys. I don't know. Did you remember? It might have been 1989. Isaac, you're a sports historian. Roger Dorn got hit by a pitch. He went to first base, and they went to pinch hit for Dorn.
Wait a minute, Roger Dorn, that's somebody from Major League, right?
Oh, wait, that wasn't real baseball? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, but do you remember that scene where Dorn didn't want to get pinch run for?
I think I'd say Albert Bell, though.
No, Albert Bell got hit by a pitch. It was like, no, I'm good.
By the way, when Devers gets to the dugout, he avoids a pat on the rear from one of the coaches, and he walks straight down the stairs.
Well, he's visibly upset, and he eventually does walk away. Cox pinch runs for him. Again, they end up losing 2-1, but he also screams and shouts on his way to the dugout into his helmet. You know, he's obviously cursing out somebody and visibly upset, and he walks into the clubhouse. Now, it's clear he didn't want to be pinch run for in that moment. And the commentators go on to say how bad that is for chemistry, and this is just a bad look, and, this isn't a way to build a team, and, this is all about him, this is no bueno, and blah, blah, blah. But when I was seeing this, obviously it's not a great thing, but I was noticing that, man, he really wants to stay in there, because I look at him like a lazy tub of goo. So I was actually.
So you were like impressed.
I was actually impressed that he wanted to stay in and run. And be the tying run in this situation and not be taken out. Like, he wanted to play. In today's world, we see so much lazy, and there's a lot of – he's a great hitter, but he has, a lazy demeanor about him to me. He's a great hitter. I'll say that again. But to me, it said a lot that he didn't want to be taken out. Like, man, he wants to play. He got all these overpaid babies who sometimes you wonder if they care. To me, it showed that he cared. And
so I agree with that. I don't look at this as a.
I'm just wondering, do you look at it like,
no,
hey, good on him for wanting to play, or bad look because that's bad for chemistry, which is what most people. I'd say 90% of these stories that you're reading or seeing, because you're seeing a lot of coverage of this on social media and on TV. You're seeing Devers fight with not even fighting. He's just saying, I'm not being pinch run for. I'm staying in the game.
Well, keep in mind how he
you
left,
hate on him for that?
He left Boston in a non-fun way, right?
Yeah, but pitchers all the time will tell their manager, nah, I want to stay in the game. Well, he's just saying, I want to stay in the game.
I was going to say, Devers has a reputation a little bit, right, from the Red Sox days, and rubbing some folks the wrong way. But I was going to say exactly what you just said. But there's guys like
issues with management because they made certain promises and things like that.
Well, you know what is there's guys like Max Scherzer. He comes to mind. There's guys that a manager knows, don't tell me to come out of a game if I've stated ahead of time I'm okay. And I know it's always the manager's call, the pitching coach or the manager, but I can think of other guys, but who comes to mind for you? Because I think immediately, a Max Scherzer is out there, and you've seen him adamantly, you're not taking me out of the game.
I've seen a lot of pitchers,
but that's
put
hard.
Up a stink
so
where they don't want to come out, and they put the manager in a tough situation. All right, do I leave him in? Do I trust him? Dude, just recently, a few weeks ago, Ryan Weathers was telling Aaron Boone, no, I don't want to come out. Let me get this last out. I'm not coming out. I'm getting this last out. And Aaron Boone went against his better judgment of, all right, you know what, man? He's a dog. I'm letting him stay in there. And sure enough, that batter went yard, and they lost the game. So it was like, man, Aaron Boone should have stuck with his gut.
Would you call that an oopsie daisy?
It was a whoopsie doodle.
Whoopsie doodle.
It was more of a whoopsie doodle. But, that's just a random example proving, it happens all the time, and these pitchers don't get some sort of reputation of being disobedient.
But
here Rafael Devers wants to stay in the game, which to me is like, wow, what a surprise.
That's why you got to take
and he gets all this negative press.
You got to take the lead of the subjective mind, which is the coach, the manager. In football, sometimes the guy gets a little banged up and he wants to stay in, and you need the coach to be like, no, come out for a play or so. Because these guys are It's like a fighter, right? What if Rocky Balboa would have threw in the towel? Apollo would be alive today.
Yeah, these guys, I get it.
Throw it.
Right. They
remember Duke? What did Duke say?
Sometimes they got to be safe from themselves.
Throw in the towel. And when Duke said throw in the towel, and Rocky Balboa with his 1980s boss.
We can't fault a competitor for being competitive.
But Rocky's there. He's got the towel in his hand. In his sweet white boss sponsorship Rocky IV, attire.
My boss sweatshirt, I bought it at Chess King, absolutely.
He has the towel in his hand.
2 for 1 at Chess King. Me, I got one for me. I got one for Duke. I got 3. I got one for Paulie. Paulie likes boss.
But because Apollo,
they're right, Paulie.
Because Apollo adamantly told Rocky Balboa,
dude, that's what competitors do.
I know.
They don't want to be taken out.
I know.
So Devers does that, and he's the bad guy. I mean, that's how I'm seeing it. Everybody else, I promise you, 90%. I'm making this up as we go. 95% of all the press and people talking about the story are like, terrible look, disobedience, and bad on Devers and bad for team chemistry. It's like the dude wanted to play. When you were a kid, and your mom told you, come on in, it's dinner time. What'd you want to do? You're like, no.
How many times have
you want to stay on play?
If you're playing with your kids and you're like, all right, we're going to do, you get 3 more swings. You think it ends with 3 more swings? My son will then be like, no, one more.
This is just the adult modern-day version of, he wanted to stay in there. He worked the count. He got on base. He could have been a tying run.
Now, I know I used 2 fictional examples
with
Roger Dorn and Apollo Creed, but nonetheless, it still rings true because no real competitor wants to get out, which is why I think it's always the manager or coach's job to say, hey, listen, I love the spirit. Maybe on that rare occasion where you see the eye of a Scherzer saying, I got one more
Jonah
batter.
Cox was the right move. Devers is no speed demon. We know that. But I do commend it. I'm just saying there's 2 ways to look at it. Unless there's some crazy backstory. His screaming and pouting on the way out, that's never a good look. But he did cover his mouth. He put the helmet over his head. He was just upset. He wanted to stay in there. I don't see it the way everyone's seeing it unless I'm missing something. And by all means, that's why we chop it up and get you guys involved. 877-99 on Fox.
I mean, to me, it just looks like he wants it.
Dude, when you go to pick up your kid, right, and they're playing at their buddy's house, and they put up this stink, and they embarrass you, right? Like, I don't want to go home. Meanwhile, you're there. Like, come on, all right, we got to go now.
And
I don't want to.
You did the grit teeth and grab your back.
Yeah, you grab their hand real hard and like, get in the car. Right? But there's a part of you that's like, well, I guess it just means they were having a really good time. And there's something nice about that. Yeah, no one wants to be shown up, especially in front of other parents. It's so embarrassing. But that just means they were having that much fun because that's what kids do. He's a ball player. He wanted to ball. The whole thing is about what a bad look this is. Everybody's positioning it that way. Outside looking in, I'm just like, this dude just wants to play. I don't see the big issue with it. So, again, I might be missing something. I'm not in on Giants baseball gossip all the time. But I can tell you straight up that outside looking in, it looks like the guy just didn't want to be taken out. To me, that's refreshing.
I think his past
so many dudes that don't want to play.
His past reputation might have something to do with it, right?
Maybe.
So, any other thoughts on it, Danny, before we move along?
I mean, there was a lot of hype around Tennessee's Tony Vitello, and that was the other part of this Mercury news story. They say that he didn't stand up for himself, and it was a bad look as the Giants got swept. So
now he's a young manager.
Yeah, he is.
So you think there's a conflict of? I always thought this when there was a younger manager or a coach in the NFL. Sometimes it could be like some weird, like, you're like my age, dude. I'm not saying
he's undermining his position.
Yeah, like almost like Devers, playing for a guy, in his age bracket. That's why, like, a lot of times when you see like an older manager or coach, it's like maybe they garner a different type of respect. Maybe Rafael Devers, like, this guy's going to tell me to come out of the game.
That's just life, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you have guys that you work with that are younger than you that sort of keep tabs on what Rich is doing. Do you respect them the way you respect elders?
I think you have to respect your bosses regardless.
You do your best, but I mean, it's a different relationship. It just is, So hey, that's the story, and here's you're gonna see it throughout the day. I've seen it like all day long. I've seen it on social media and on TV. So that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Scott sums it up simply with, The player wants to play, but it's the manager's job to make a decision and have it be respected.
Hey, he walked off.
No,
and by
have
the way,
it be respected.
It was the right move. There's no question. Devers was not in the right. Cox pinch running in that moment was definitely the right move. They end up losing anyway.